What if the danger you're in isn't outside, but inside your soul? Welcome to the chosen path. If you're here, it's not by accident. This message found you because you're meant to hear it. Today, we're going deep. You're going to discover why your pain wasn't random, how the enemy has been silently setting traps around you, and, most importantly, the divine plan that God has designed to pull you out and place you back on your feet. This isn't just a video. This is a rescue mission. So lean in. Stay with me. Because by the end of this, you won't see your life the same way again. Let's begin. There are moments in life when everything feels loud, yet your soul feels empty. That's not coincidence. That's divine warning. God doesn't always shout. Sometimes he whispers through the silence of your despair. You weren't meant to brush it off or wait until it becomes unbearable. He's been speaking through sleepless nights, broken relationships, and the gnawing feeling that you're not where you're meant to be. You've felt it. This is the confirmation. You keep asking for a sign, and yet, here it is. The unease, the tension in your chest, the restlessness that haunts you when you're alone. You're not being punished. You're being pursued. God doesn't leave his chosen ones to die in confusion. But the longer you ignore the signal, the louder the storm gets. And sometimes, the storm doesn't come to destroy. It comes to redirect. Every time you felt like giving up, it wasn't your weakness. It was a red flag. God was sounding the alarm before the fall. The real danger isn't in the external world. It's in staying disconnected from his plan. When you feel surrounded by noise, that's when you need to listen the most carefully. You weren't supposed to figure it out on your own. That's why God sends the warnings, because he knows what's ahead if you keep walking blindly. The spiritual battle you're in isn't just for your peace, it's for your purpose. The enemy doesn't attack the weak, he attacks the chosen. Today, this is your moment to stop running and start receiving. You are not broken. You are being summoned. Don't ignore the call. Your soul already knows what your pride is trying to deny. God's warning isn't to scare you. It's to save you. You think it's just bad luck, a tough season. But no, this is warfare. The enemy has watched you from the beginning. He knows the patterns that trip you, the distractions that delay you, the temptations that drain your power. And his plan is simple. Keep you just comfortable enough to never change. He'll let you be busy, successful, and even admired, as long as you stay out of your calling. Because once you step into what God created you for, hell starts to panic. That's why you've been under pressure. That's why everything feels like it's crashing around you. It's not destruction, it's a setup. But here's the good news. Before the enemy ever had a plan to trap you, God already had a plan to free you. His plan isn't reaction, it's redemption. Where the enemy says, "You're too late," God says, "You're right on time." Where darkness whispers, "You're broken," heaven declares, "You're chosen." The enemy uses lies. God uses light. The more you understand who you really are in him, the less power the enemy has over your thoughts, your habits, your decisions. The enemy can only rule where there is confusion. God rules where there is clarity. This video right now, it's part of that clarity. You're not powerless. You're not forgotten. You're in the middle of a battlefield you were never trained for, but you're being equipped now. God's plan doesn't require you to be perfect, just present, to show up, to say yes. The rest, he will handle. The enemy wants you stuck. God wants you sent. The enemy wants you numb. God wants you awake. And if you're hearing this right now, it's not too late. You're still in the fight, because you were built to win it. You thought the silence meant you were forgotten. The unanswered prayers, the closed doors, the people who vanished from your life. It all felt like abandonment. But what if it was alignment? God doesn't isolate you to punish you. He pulls you away to prepare you. The wilderness isn't where you're lost. It's where you're built. Every time you sat alone, doubting your worth, God was working in silence. He wasn't ignoring you. He was refining you. Like gold in fire, you were being tested, not destroyed. That space you called loneliness was really sacred ground. You didn't lose people. God removed distractions. He cleared your path so you could hear His voice again. Think of every great calling in the Bible. Isolation was always the first step. David had sheep. Joseph had prison. Jesus had the desert. You had your season too. And in that hidden place, God gave you something no platform or crowd ever could. Identity. Not performance. Not approval. But a deep knowing of who you are in Him. While others were celebrating, you were wrestling with your calling. While others partied, you were pruning your spirit. You didn't see the progress because it was internal. God was teaching you what pressure couldn't steal. You didn't miss out. You caught up with yourself. The real you. So when you walk out of this season, you won't just be healed. You'll be prepared. Not just for success, but for assignment. You're not empty. You're equipped. The silence was never the end. It was the beginning of your emergence. People think God wants behavior. He doesn't. He wants your heart. He's not after your rituals. He's after your restoration. This isn't about showing up at a building. It's about showing up to your own calling. Religion may have failed you, judged you, even wounded you. But God, He's still standing with open arms. You've been made to feel like you had to be perfect to be loved. That's a lie. God doesn't need your fake strength. He wants your real surrender. Your pain, your questions, your mess. Bring all of it. He's not intimidated by your story. He wrote the parts you're trying to hide. The reason you're here, right now, is because God's not waiting for you to clean yourself up. He's ready to pull you out of the confusion, out of the patterns that break you, out of the fear that keeps you small. This is not a checklist. It's a rescue mission. And you're the one He's coming for. Every time you said, "I'm done," He whispered, "I'm not." Every time you almost quit, grace covered you. Not because you were strong, but because He refused to let go. This isn't about impressing heaven. It's about accepting that heaven already chose you. So stop waiting to feel holy enough. There's no such thing. God saves first, then shapes. He catches you as you are and molds you through relationship, not religion. You weren't meant to follow rules. You were meant to follow Him. And He's closer than you think. You wake up tired even after 8 hours of sleep. Your body rests, but your soul stays exhausted. That's not just stress. It's spiritual drain. You've been running on empty, trying to fill a void that only God can satisfy. And the longer you ignore the signals, the deeper you sink into confusion, disguised as comfort. You surround yourself with people, but still feel completely alone. You laugh, talk, scroll, and smile, but something inside stays disconnected. That's a sign. When your spirit can't feel safe, even in the presence of others, it means you've been starving for something real. Real peace, real light, real connection. You chase achievements, validation, and attention, hoping that the next win will finally make you feel whole. But it never lasts. The thrill fades. The applause dies down. and the emptiness returns stronger than before. That's not failure. It's a spiritual warning. You're trying to fix a soul-level wound with surface-level solutions. You keep filling your life with noise, TV, music, scrolling, anything to avoid silence. Because deep down, you're afraid of what you'll hear in that silence. But silence is often where God speaks, and avoiding it doesn't protect you. It blinds you. You've muted heaven's voice without realizing it. You've convinced yourself that "I'm fine" is a strength, but that phrase is a mask. The truth is, something's not right, and pretending is part of the danger. When spiritual decay feels normal, rescue feels foreign. But this message is your wake-up call. You've been in danger long enough. It's time to come back. The plan to save you doesn't start with a sermon. It starts with a decision. A choice to stop running and start returning. God doesn't need a perfect speech or a holy ritual. He just wants your yes. When you stop resisting, He starts restoring. One step toward Him is all it takes to activate His plan. You must disconnect from what's slowly killing your soul. That relationship, that addiction, that cycle of overthinking, it has to go. God can't deliver you from something you keep defending. Detachment isn't rejection, it's rescue. The pain of separation is the price of freedom. God's plan moves in small steps, not giant leaps. A prayer in the car, a moment of honesty, a choice to walk away from temptation. Those simple acts of obedience are the seeds of transformation. You don't have to see the whole path, just the next step. And trust that He's walking ahead of you. You must surround yourself with light. The people, the voices, the environments you allow into your life matter more than you think. Darkness thrives in isolation. But when you stay near truth, healing accelerates. What you feed will grow, and what you starve will die. Feed your faith. God's plan isn't about taking you back to who you were. It's about raising you into who you were always meant to become. That version of you, the healed, focused, fearless you, is already inside. But you have to stop delaying. The plan is ready. The timing is now. The only question left is, will you step into it? You weren't chosen because you had it all together. You were chosen because you didn't. God doesn't look for the qualified. He qualifies the called. He saw your wounds, your flaws, your mess, and still said, "That one." While others saw brokenness, He saw a blueprint. You weren't overlooked. You were hand-picked. The weight you carry, the pressure on your shoulders, the spiritual attacks you've survived, those aren't signs of weakness. They're evidence that you're a threat. The enemy doesn't waste energy on people going nowhere. You've been targeted because your calling has impact. That's why it's been so hard. But that's also why you can't quit. There's a mission on your life that you can't even fully see yet, but heaven sees it, and hell fears it. You weren't chosen to just live a quiet life and disappear. You were chosen to break chains, shift legacies, and awaken others. Your story is someone else's survival guide, and the enemy knows it. Everything you've gone through wasn't random. The betrayal, the loss, the isolation, it was all preparation. Every scar has shaped the authority you now carry. Every tear was watering the seeds of purpose. And now, you're not just walking out. You're walking into what you were created for. Being chosen doesn't mean being celebrated. Sometimes it means being crushed. But crushing produces oil, and oil fuels purpose. You are anointed because you were broken. And now it's time to rise, not for applause, but for assignment. You were chosen to shift the atmosphere. Start walking like it. You keep saying, "I'll start tomorrow." But what if tomorrow never comes? Procrastination isn't just a habit. It's a spiritual trap. It makes you comfortable in delay. And every time you put off obedience, you give the enemy more room to move. Waiting feels safe until it becomes deadly. God isn't calling you to be ready. He's calling you to respond. Readiness is a myth. If you wait until you feel ready, you'll never move. The door of breakthrough often opens when you step while still afraid. Faith doesn't wait for the perfect conditions. It walks in obedience before the comfort. The longer you delay, the deeper the damage. What you tolerate now will control you later. The habit you said you'd quit next week becomes a stronghold. The apology you postpone becomes a hardened heart. Time doesn't heal what you refuse to confront. Delay is disobedience in disguise. The truth is, you already know what you need to do. That relationship to leave. That calling to answer. That step to take. You've known for a while. But fear, doubt, and comfort have chained your feet. God's plan won't wait forever. The opportunity will pass. The season will shift. And the danger is thinking you have more time. If you're hearing this, it means this is your moment. Not next week. Not after your next excuse. Now. Heaven is ready. The door is open. All it takes is one step of obedience to trigger a divine chain reaction. But you have to stop waiting. What God placed in you was meant for now. You've been holding on to something that's been silently killing your spirit. That relationship, that habit, that identity, it once made you feel safe, but now it's suffocating you. And God's been whispering, "Let go." But you're still clinging, hoping it will fix itself. It won't. What God asks you to release is not a punishment. It's protection. There comes a point when holding on becomes more dangerous than letting go. And if you don't release it willingly, God may tear it away. Not to harm you, but to rescue you. Sometimes the pain of loss is the price of liberation. That breakdown you fear might be the breakthrough you need. God doesn't destroy what you need. He removes what holds you back. You say, "I can't live without this." But the truth is, you already are, just not fully. You're surviving, drifting, going through the motions. God doesn't want you half alive. He wants you free. And freedom costs comfort. But what you let go of in faith, He replaces in fullness. We often pray for God to bless us while holding on to what's blocking the blessing. You ask for peace while clinging to chaos. You ask for clarity while holding on to confusion. God will not fill hands that are already full of idols. Release is a prerequisite for resurrection. The longer you wait, the messier the removal will be. But even then, grace is waiting. When God takes something away, He's never being cruel. He's being careful. You are chosen, and chosen people don't get to carry everything. The weight must drop for the wings to rise. You've been doubting yourself for too long, telling yourself you're not ready, not good enough, not called. But let me tell you, you are the one. The fact that you're here, still standing, still listening, still hoping, that's proof. This moment was made for you, not for someday, not for someone else, for you. You've been waiting for a sign, for confirmation, for someone to choose you. But God already did. Before the fear, before the failures, He chose you when you felt like the most unqualified person in the room. He chose you with full knowledge of your flaws. And He still says, "Go." You may not feel strong, but you are exactly who this moment needs. You've been through fire and didn't burn. You've been through storms and didn't drown. That's not luck. That's legacy. God didn't preserve you to play small. He rescued you to rise, to lead, to heal, to build, to wake others up. Don't let fear rob you of what you were born for. The enemy will do everything to make you feel unworthy, but your authority comes from above, not from approval. The most dangerous lie is, you still have time. You don't. Not to stay silent. Not to stay stuck. The window is open now. This isn't hype. It's heaven. Your next chapter doesn't start with applause. It starts with obedience. You are the interruption to everything that tried to stop your family. You are the shift in the bloodline. You are the proof that grace wins. Don't miss this moment. It's your time. Before you scroll away, pause. Because if this message stirred something in you, that wasn't me. That was the whisper of God, calling His chosen one back to alignment. You weren't just watching, you were being called. You're not broken. You're not behind. You're becoming. The enemy tried to bury you, but he didn't know. You were a seed. And now it's time to rise. If this spoke to your soul, let me know. What part of this message hit you the hardest? What is God asking you to let go of or step into? Drop a comment below and write "The Chosen Path" to let me know you made it all the way to the end. I read every word. This is our community, our tribe, our calling. And if you felt something shift, don't keep this to yourself. Like, share. Send this to one person who needs to hear it before it's too late. We're just getting started. Stay awake. Stay aligned. This is the chosen path.